Alright, what's up ladies and gentlemen? Hope your guys' day is going as amazing as mine. Coming at you with another amazing video today. Got a lot of things to talk about in the daily principle. I'm going to be adding a new section, and on top of everything, I have major video improvements. As you can kind of tell, I've changed my background already. I got a new microphone, not new microphone, but I'm going to be using this microphone from now on rather than the standing one that I had. And yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so I'm going to start off by talking about the major video improvements that I'm going to be making. Major improvement number one is I'm going to be adding a section at the end of every single video that'll be a vocabulary, kind of a glossary, so to speak, at the end of every single video with terms and words that I used in the video so that you guys can get a better understanding of what I'm talking about, so I can better educate you guys. Second, change my background. Gonna be playing around a lot with it. As you can see, I'm kind of standing here, got a nice little view behind me. I don't know, I think from what I can see the camera is centered, but you guys are the audience, not me. Please let me know if there's any more improvements I can make. Let me know what background you might want to see. I have my shelf here, I have more of an office view now, I'm more in an office now. So yeah. Going to be doing that, and I'm going to be breaking down my videos into sections so that you guys understand what I'm talking about when I'm talking about it. So yeah, with that being said, let's get into the daily principle. Okay, so it is February 2nd now, so this is the first daily principle of the month. A lot of things have happened, and I cannot wait to start talking about it. Commodity markets slumped today. Gold, silver, oil, and industrial metals all experienced significant losses. Metals, particularly silver, saw steep declines after record rallies, and oil prices pulled back as geopolitical fears eased. This reflects weakening risk sentiment and unwinding of speculative positions. Global financial markets showed turbulence and risk-off positioning as sentiment weakened heading into a pivotal week of earnings, central bank meetings, and economic data releases. Stock indexes were mixed. Some European markets rebounded modestly while US futures softened. Precious metals and other safe havens pulled back as the US dollar stabilized. Safe haven assets like gold and silver, which had previously set records, are now being hit by momentum selling, higher margin requirements, and speculative unwind. Silver's recent decline is one of the steepest in decades, while gold has also pulled back significantly, and this signals a rotation out of crowded hedges and risk repricing. Early February commentary points to weaker stocks and a stronger dollar, with investors cautious ahead of major macro catalysts like job data and central bank decisions. This reflects lingering uncertainty from last week's rate and Fed leadership developments. The US dollar gained firmness, finally, partly on the back of expectations tied to the Federal Reserve's policy outlook and leadership direction. A stronger dollar influences commodity pricing and pressure on other currencies, contributing to cross-asset volatility. Former European Central Bank President Mario Draghi declared that the current global economic order is defunct, urging European strategic autonomy in industrial and defense policy to counter pressure from the United States and China. He warned Europe risks being divided and subordinated unless supply chain and policy autonomy is strengthened. This sharp slide in commodities, metal and oil, signals investors are unwinding positions that were built on geopolitical fear and reallocating as risk perception shifts. Volatility is high as markets await key macro catalysts, earnings, inflation data, central bank decisions, and job reports. The rebound in the US dollar is affecting global asset pricing and reducing appetite for traditional safe havens like gold and silver. Metals unwinding suggests speculative positions are vulnerable as central bank outlooks remain uncertain rather than definitive. Currency strength, especially in the dollar, reflects markets adjusting to evolving expectations about interest rates and monetary policy shifts. High-level commentary on the global order underscopes that strategic autonomy and industrial policy are becoming core parts of policy discussions, not just market commentary. Falling oil prices could translate into lower pump prices and reduced transportation costs over time. Traditional safe haven assets like gold and silver have pulled back. That is not necessarily a signal to buy or sell, but it does indicate markets are repricing risk, not becoming confident. A stronger US dollar makes imports cheaper, but can pressure exporters and influence inflation trends that affect everyday goods and services. Upcoming job reports, inflation figures, and central bank decisions this week are likely to drive market moves. Those data points often influence interest rates, loan costs, and return on savings. Okay, so as you saw, a little bit of improvements in the daily principle section. Now I want to talk about the philosophical thing, being the private victory. So for the philosophical thing that I want to talk about, it's the private victory. The private victory is very hard to achieve, and it takes a lot of mental and physical strength. What is a private victory, you might be asking? I've been reading a lot on the 7 habits of highly effective people, and the first step before you learn any habits or anything like that is winning the private victory. Now I'm going to use a very plain example. I'm going to use the YouTube channel as an example because you have to overcome that fear. You have to overcome the public speaking fear, so on and so forth, before you can actually, make a video and post it. Because most people, they can't just do that. They have to take time, and then they, kind of, how do I say this? Procrastinate, there you go. They procrastinate doing it for so long, and then they just end up not doing it. But if you plan it out, know what to talk about, you envision what you're going to talk about, you envision how it's going to look, you're confident with your editing skills. That is the private victory. You have to win it before people see you posting. So again, I'm going to reiterate and make it a little bit more simpler because I feel like that was very complex what I just said, or very confusing. Basically, what I'm saying is the private victory is, say you want to start a YouTube channel, for example. The first thing that you do is you plan out, you script it. Not necessarily script, it depends on the content that you're going to do. You learn how to edit, you do that. That is the private victory before people see the video that you post out, which is the final product. That's the public victory, and we'll talk about that in a different video. But in order to get any public victories, you first have to get the private victory. You have to overcome, a fear, or you have to learn how to do something correctly, something that other people don't see because they don't understand how hard it was for you in the first place to, sit down, start recording, start talking. You didn't have that confidence, but when you did, you won your private victory. So that's why I feel like the private victory is very important, because you do that personally. That's something that you have to overcome yourself. Other people can't help you. You have to do it yourself. So yeah. Again, like I said, think on it, reflect on it, and then hopefully this helped you in some way. Okay, so throughout the video, I threw out a couple definitions of a couple words that I use and a couple terms that I use. So hopefully you guys found that useful. But here's a list of all the actual words and terms that I used that were slightly complicated or, aren't the easiest to understand at first. Okay, so now that you've done that, hopefully that helped in a way, helped you understand better. I want to introduce another new section where I'll be talking about some of the comments that I get. Some people ask me to cover certain topics, and I will be covering certain topics, but first I need to sit down and do my research before, say, there you go, I got to win that private victory before I can make a public video about it so that I'm not telling you guys complete, nonsense or something like that. So I'm going to grab my phone, I'm gonna read a couple of comments that I want to talk about, and yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm actually using my phone to record the audio, so I'm gonna have to do this from my laptop. A little bit unconventional, but we got this. Okay, first comment. Look into the claim that Trump was an informant in 2009. I will be doing that in the next video, not this one. Like I said, I didn't properly research beforehand, so I don't want to, give you guys complete nonsense, but that's the next thing that I'll be covering. That's the next topic I'll be covering that's one of the topics I'll be covering in the next video. There we go. The second comment that I want to talk about was left on yesterday's video that I uploaded, which is part of my 1% Principle series. That video being called What Are Stocks? That comment basically asked me to go into, deeper vocabulary, deeper meaning, stocks versus bonds. So the next video on my 1% principle series is going to be about exchange traded funds, because that was one of the major things they asked me to talk about. Then we'll do bonds, and then I'll do stocks versus ETFs versus bonds. I'm going to be properly equipped because I'm very educated in this. I spend a lot of time researching this stuff, so hopefully I delivered you guys an amazing video. So yeah, that's most of the stuff that I wanted to talk about today. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it so much. If I help you in any way, or if I educate you in any way, please, subscribe, comment, let me know how I can improve my videos, and share this with anybody who, you think needs this information, or this information could be useful to them. Thank you very much. I appreciate it a lot, and I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day or night, depending on where you are or what time it is.